Hello and welcome back to the grid. Welcome back to Let's Build the Megazord, box number 20, magazines 105 to 110. And sorry for the blooper last time I said welcome back to Let's Build the Magazine. I don't know. I said this multiple times by now, and I always rehearse and start out with is that correct? Is audio fine? And I don't know how I said that, but that happens. So anyways, before I blab too much, as always, box 20, and this is still not the last base plate thing. There's one more part missing, and yeah, we're getting two boxes after this, 21 and 22. And in 22 there will be the tribal coin that's missing. This is the outer stuff for yeah, what I said before, the base plate. It's late and these are the wrong things, so a bit chaotic as always. We have 105 here. Everything T-Rex from now on, because that's the only thing we're missing. Besides the power sword and the cannons. But yeah, I think that will be the last box, I assume. So 106. 107. I mean, tail and upper body is done from T-Rex, so what we're missing, sorry for all the rattling, it's all the plastic, is, well, basically just the legs of T-Rex. 108. 109. I can't count like the count from Sesame Street. 110! Sorry. Anyways, let's start building and head over to the building table. See you in a sec. Welcome to the building table. As I said before, we start out with the base plate. We need the top half first, so take it and flip it over. And we have these dividers. You have this railing, which is for that part, and the counterpart is here. So we attach that around with all of these, and then one screw holds that in place. Let me do that and show you the results in a second. With these 6 pillars here, the top half is way sturdier than it was before, but we're not done yet. We have these panes left, these 6 outer panes that close this off finally, and with that part it's becoming one. This slots in here between those two. Make sure that these bigger gaps are facing downwards when you slide them in. As I said, they go in between these. I will do that and show you the results in a moment. When you do everything correctly, it clicks in place, as you could hear in a second ago. So that's that part done. And the final one is taking, which is the lower half, flipping it around, putting it up top. We have to align this, and when it's aligned, here on the outer end are screws which need to be attached as well to have everything, well, complete to one solid piece. I'm done with combining this here from the start with, hey, here's the top part, turn it over, put the pillars in, screw them down, then take the white panels, slot them in, and then combine both parts, screw it together. You need to screw it in front here, 6 screws, and below 6 screws as well to make it really sturdy. Give or take 15 minutes, and this is a really sturdy base plate. Final touch will be with box 22, the tribal coin, and then we're done with our Power Rangers Oreo cookie. I put in 4 AA batteries to have it run a test if it still works after so many months, and surprise, it does. It lights up, it looks really good. This is really light now because the tribal coin is missing. This will be way more dim. Number 1 on the remote turns it on, number 3 turns it off, and number 2 makes it flash. I tried that out, and well, this is the, I don't know, 5th time recording this, but I had a glitch, so as I made it flash, it didn't stop flashing. So beware, you had to, yeah, when you want to turn it off, I had to take the batteries out for that. So, and if you ask yourself, what do I want to do with this besides having it in my collection room and like where this goes? I'm lazy with cleaning. I have this. It's barely visible. It's an acrylic cylinder where I glued an acrylic disc on top. So this is high enough. I will put this here aside for now. When it's done, this will be below, Megazord on top, and this closes Megazord off so that I don't have to dust this enormous Megazord. Same deal with the Zord shelf and everything here. I will piece by piece and close everything as far as it makes sense with acrylic in front that I can reach it with Velcro, for example. I did that in my room tour with that shelf there, I've shown that. Velcro on the shelf, acrylic on top, and then something that looks like wooden stripes on the outer edges. You have a clean looking shelf, and if you need to get to the figures, just take it off and then you stick it on. It's really nice. Even with this really nice wood what I have, sand oak, just as a side note, I have to clean the Zord shelf like once a year, maybe twice, and that's so much effort. It takes like 1 or 2 days. Not literally, but it feels like, because it's like taking everything down, dust the figures, dust the shelf, and so on and so forth, put it back on, and it's a lot of work. Yeah, I know it's my own fault having that stuff in the first place, but I want to get a bit more lazy, enjoy my toys, and don't have to dust everything. Anyways, let's continue with T-Rex. Magazine number 105. We had this part and the tail last time. Let's see how far we can get this time. I would love to have a test drive technically with combining everything, have the pegs and parts of the legs missing, and like, hey, you still can form Megazord because the pegs are there, but I assume they won't let us. We'll find out at the end of the episode. So let's move on. We start out with this big heavy metal piece and 3 of these little caps that go on top here. I think we're building a foot first. You need to take the screws that make everything flush. There are 2 types of black screws, 1 silver screws. You need the black ones, not with the mushroom shaped head, with the flush ones. This is our result. Very easy. Speaking of easy, next step, this metal part combines like this. With 2 silver screws, everything gets held in place permanently. Here's our result, very easy. Goes aside for now. We're continuing with these red parts and the 1 black part. We have 1 less shiny thing, this is this one, and this more shiny. Slots on here. Then we have the black trim, goes on there. And the smallest of the parts goes on here as well. It slots together very easy to form one thing. Only 2 screws need to be attached here from the back, and we only have 1 set of screws that we didn't use before, so not too hard, I guess. Here's our result. When you're done, this looks like that. Be careful, I used a bit too much force, and you can see the screw peaks a little bit through the plastic. Nothing too annoying. I will fix that in post somehow, maybe with some sandpaper, I don't know. And from the back, 2 screws, 1 top, 1 below. And the final part, this needs to be attached, no, that way around, here. Same screw as before, that we have a kneecap. Here's our result. Let's close this off for now. Looks like that. I mean, barely visible, the little dot there. I know it's there, it will annoy me. I will try to fix that. And for the final part, for this magazine, slides in here. Looks like a foot for now. And needs to be held down with 2 silver screws that we used before. Here's our result. Looking good. As I said, 1 foot. As assumed. Why did I call this kneecap? That's not a kneecap. Anyways, let's continue over to the next magazine. Magazine 106, not too many parts. Let's see what we get. We start out with the other half of the foot, metal as well, and this little gray plastic part that goes in here, very easy. We have two types of screws, silver and black, so no way of confusing this. Two silver screws hold this in place. See you with the results in a moment. Here's our result, very easy, you can see where the screws go. For the next step we assemble this part and that part with this, so we combine everything. This slides in here to cap that off. And speaking of capping off, this goes on top. So it has to look like this, and you close everything shut with two of the remaining black screws that we didn't use before. The screws need to go here, very easy, and the final touch for this magazine is taking this red part and these two black parts, one here, red goes on here. I will show you the results in a moment. And on the black parts is an L and an R for left and right, so that you cannot mess up where goes what. Everything in place. Here's the red cap, here's a black one, here's another one. We have our first foot done. This magazine was very fast. Let's move over to the next one and see how well that goes. Magazine 107. So let's start. We begin with this silver piece and this gray insert, and that's exactly what we want to do. We insert it in here and we take 4 of our black screws to hold it in place. Here's our result, very easy, you can see where the screws go. For the next step we take this really big bolt and it goes in here. Has to look like this when you're done. After that we combine this metal piece and the combined part from before, like so. Make sure that it's flush, it has to look like this. When you're done, you take that part and the foot that we assembled before, and this combines. Only thing left to do for this magazine is to use 4 of the silver screws to hold this together. Here's our result, very nice, looking more and more like T-Rex's leg. Let's move over to the next magazine. Magazine number 108. Everything before was very fast. The most time-consuming part today was the base plate. Let's see how fast we will be with 108. We continue with T-Rex, and this is interesting. On the lower end, you can see these 2 screws that hold the black square parts in place. We have to unscrew those. And here inside are round discs that have, well, also acrylic transparent washers. So the washers go in the round plastic part, then they go on here, and then you use the same screws to have everything on there again. I will do that in a sec and show you the results. I unscrewed this square part, as I mentioned before. And then we take this round part and I attach the acrylic washer, as you can see. I think it's really acrylic, it's not rubber this time. No, it's acrylic, it's plastic. So let's attach that. Here for comparison you can see the new one and the old one. The square is old, the round one is new. Let's switch that up for the other side as well. And now both parts are in place. It's really odd that they did that. They could save some parts and some steps. Well, hey, I don't judge. We move over to our assembled leg that we had before and take this metal piece. Goes on top, and one of the silver screws that goes here holds it down. For the next step, we take this assembled part and this disc, and this caps off the bullet holes. We do that on both sides of the, I think this is a knee part. Yeah, that's a knee part. Gently push it down till it's flush, and here you have your result. For the next step, we take our T-Rex body and the first leg, that goes on here. And there's a counterpart that we had in the previous magazine. This, well, insert, not a really an insert this time, but as I said, counterpart goes below here. I hope it's visible. I will screw that down. We use the black screws that are remaining that we didn't use before. And when I have my results, I will show you how it needs to look. Here you can see where the screws need to go. It's nice that this can rotate. It's good for posing and such in the future when it's done, but combining this makes it easier as well. The last step for this magazine is taking this black piece and sliding it carefully in here. I hope it's visible. It's not easy handling this part so far. And then there's our other silver half that closes this off. Slot it on there and use the remaining black screws to make this one whole part. The first leg is attached. It needs some bullet holes closed off, but this is one huge Zord. Well, let's move on to the next magazine. Magazine number 109, and I barely have any room here. There you go. So, some metal plates and some things to cap off the remaining bullet holes. And when I look over there, one magazine left, and we will not see Megazord today. That's a shame, but potentially next time, definitely with the last box. So let's begin. For the first step, we take these metal plates. Goes on here. Only one type of screw, so screw it down on both sides, and we're done with that step at least. And that's our end result. 2 screws on each side. Very fast. And yeah, well, there are some plates left that close off the final bullet holes. I will attach those and show you the results. Here you can see no more bullet holes, everything closed off. Very cool, very clean looking. And I cannot wait until this is done to finally have a Megazord here. I technically could, well, I can turn, twist that, which I will do for storage purposes for now, but just one leg and then it will be huge, but it still will be missing that part to attach the second leg, and it crashes if I do that, so nah. But let's rotate you over and have you fixed for storage. For show purpose, this is how it looks with the peg pulled out for Megazord. And what I can tell is this is very tight because this is a new thing out of the box, basically just assembled. So be careful when you do that. I used a screwdriver to nudge it a bit, piece by piece, to have it pulled over. I guess when you do that multiple times over the years, this will become a bit more loose. But for now, I assume if you be using too much force, this might break, because there's plastic involved and not all metal. So be really careful when you use this. Magazine number 110, the last one for today. We had that, well, 1 month ago, last box. This is beginning of the remaining leg. He's resting there for now, so let's start. We begin with this gray plastic part and this metal bolt. We had that so many times by now. Goes in here till it's flush. I will push it down in a second in post and make sure that this flat end sticks up. Take the silver plastic piece as a next step and this metal piece and align it like this. We're done. Well, we're almost done. This red plastic rests on here. This and that for next time. So, very fast with this magazine. Sad times, and yeah, I cannot resist. I will assemble Megazord as good as I can. So give me a moment. I want to see how big this is. Yeah, well, almost a Megazord? Holy Jesus. And I'm not religious. This is freaking impressive, and his shoulder pad is hanging down. There's some parts, like assembling this guy, which scared me a lot. It's hard to hold him like this. This is heavy as hell, and normally he should stand on his own. He will be in the future in potentially like 8 weeks. And yeah, this is, as I said, almost a Megazord. You barely can see his face. So, looks great. I'm looking forward to the complete thing. I didn't grab Saber-Tooth Tiger because, well, gap in between, you can see. This is what we can look forward to. The tail part, I think I have to redo a part. Maybe screw it a bit tighter and see what I messed up there. Slightly loose, but I will fix that after recording this. And I have to lay him down. Oh jeez, he's heavy. Ooh. Hi, you can see me again. There's no Megazord in the way. Give me a sec. Yeah. This is my thumbnail, laying down like this. Almost the Megazord. One leg missing. I'm so excited. As I said, this will go in here, well, below the base plate, acrylic cylinder. And if you're interested, let me see if it's still on camera. Barely. Here the acrylic cylinder where he will be inside. I will show the final thing in the last episode when we're done with everything. Believe me when I say this was relatively cheap. I looked around in the internets and I asked people who made the thing for the Zord shelf that's behind me, the other acrylic there for Time Force. I hope it's visible. And they said, what do you need? I'm like, I need that cylinder capped off. And like, yeah, that's fine. It's 800, between 800 and 1,200 euros. I'm like, what? So that's just some acrylic. It's a cylinder. Yeah, that's the thing. So they buy a large amount of it, like 100 meters or so, or even more. And they cut the part off you want, and you pay them a percentage of the thing because it's specially made. It's like extruded, and he explained it to me like, okay, fine. So I at first gave up on my idea, and I scoured the internet a bit and I found that one on eBay relatively cheap for roughly 150, and I glued basically the top on there, which cost me between like 25 and 30 somewhere. So yeah, it's a pricey hobby. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Hope you enjoyed this chaotic episode, and we see us next time when it's time to build a Megazord.